Hello everyone, in this guide I'm gonna show you how to get from fresh level 80 to 5.3 gear for both crafters and gatherers. So in my beginner's guide, leveling guide, I showed this level 71 NQ set, which we use to do Ishgard hand-ins from level 71 to 80. I'll put this gear in the video description in an Ariella link, or you can pause the video to copy the melts. It's just at the NQ level 71 set that we bought from vendor, and we just melted the guaranteed slots with as much CP as we possibly could. This is the gear I used to level up to 80 basically, and that was included in the beginner's guide. But with the same gear here, we're going to advance from level 80. We're gonna completely bypass the facet set which came out in 5.1. So the first thing is the food that we're using. You can use NQ blood bulla base as well, which you can buy from the Crystarium Culinarian vendor, but I'm using HQ here, but NQ should be just fine. And I will provide you a macro right here which you can use to craft the Dwarven set. Use this macro to craft the whole Dwarven set except for the tools, headpiece and chest, except for those. I'm gonna just show you the macro in a trial synthesis. Macro number 1 here. I can show you my stats as well after, but it should be in the Ariella link as well. Actually the Ariella link isn't good for following stats for NQ gear, because it only shows HQ gear, it doesn't show NQ. So only use the Ariella for copying the melds, not copying the stats. I will show you the stats here on video after the macro here. So very good macro, you can just use it to craft the set. You can also use this to farm white scripts, which we need to get the headpiece, chest and the tools. Those should be white script tools. That's for our next step of the guide. So that was 100%. If you were to craft a collectible recipes, it's the same difficulty as what we just crafted, 3949. So it should work the same for that one, so you can use the same macro to farm white scripts. I'm just showing this as an example. To farm white scripts, I made a separate video as well. My personal preference for that is the grinding wheel, because the grinding wheel, the materials can be brought by retainers, botanists and minor retainers as well. So it's really simple. But yeah, you can use the same macro for any of the collectible level 80s, so you can farm some white scripts. And I'm gonna show you where to get the gear as well after this. And then I'm gonna show you melts for gathering, so you can gather your own mats and not get ripped off from the market board. Gonna have easy melts for that as well. So be sure to craft a set for your gatherer as well, including accessories and tools, with this same macro right here. With the same macro right here, you can also do the gatherer set. As you can see, it's the same difficulty and everything. So this is the gatherer pants. So craft a whole gatherer set, because we need that to gather our own legendary node materials that we're gonna need to craft the 4.3 gear, as well as the new Levinstrike sand. The gatherer melts will make sure to have enough GP so you can follow my collectible rotation to farm the sands, so you are covered there as well. Okay, macro number 2, and this should be done. Done. So there was the macro. I'll post the macro as well in the video description. Just use this macro to craft a whole gatherer set. But for crafter, do everything except headpiece and chest, except for these two, and the tools. Don't do the tools either, because we're getting white script tools and chest and headpiece instead. And here is the stats for this gear with HQ Blood Bulla base, Craftsmanship 1425, Control 1480, and 511 CP. You hand in your white script collectible level 18 stuff here, and once you have the white scripts, come here, crafter script exchange, and then this second last option, gear 2. It only costs 250 per piece, which is really awesome, really cheap. So you only need to like hand in 2 grinding wheels and you can get 1 piece. So get all these tools and also get the headpiece and chest. Headpiece and chest cost a little more, but you can use them for all classes. Alright, here are the gatherer melts. I used the macro I showed to craft myself a item level 430 gatherer set. I'm gonna go through the gear in the video, but link will also be in the video description for the melts. As for food, we're using Peppered Popoto's HQ to be able to reach 850 GP with these exact melts, because we need 850 for the rotation. And with the food I have 1857 gathering, 1897 no, I almost said control, it's perception. Okay. And that offhand, there we go. Now I'm gonna show you, this is the food by the way, Peppered Popoto's HQ. Now I'm gonna show you the rotation to get sand. Now if you don't get gathering items +1 proc on the nodes, or at least +1, start with Impulsive Appraisal 2. If you didn't get a Discerning Eye proc, most of the time it's just better to respawn the node, which you can do by going to a pair of nodes. You don't need to gather from it, you just open it and go to another pair of nodes around the ephemeral node. I will also provide you in the video description a link to all the ephemeral nodes timings. The botanist one will have this Levin mint, and the minor ones is called Thunder Rock for the Levinstrike sand, which we need to craft 5.3 gear, which is what this guide is about, and we need to gather it by ourselves to make, so we're self-sufficient, and because remember, this is the cheapest way possible. Okay, we got +1, so we can go ahead. If you get +1 or +2, even if you don't get procs from Impulsive Appraisal 2, still go ahead. Okay, so let's start with Single Mind, Utmost Caution, and then Impulsive Appraisal 2. We didn't get a proc. Do another Impulsive Appraisal 2. We didn't get a proc, so now we have to use Discerning Eye manually. Had you gotten the proc, we didn't have to use Discerning Eye manually, then you would use Single Mind instead. So now we do Discerning Eye because we didn't get it from Impulsive Appraisal. Then do another Impulsive Appraisal, hopefully we get the proc. Yes, we got the proc, awesome. Then we use Single Mind. Had you not gotten the proc again, you would have to use Discerning Eye again instead of Single Mind, but since we got the proc, we can use Single Mind, and this way we get an extra item. Okay, Methodical Appraisal, perfect. And then Field Mastery. This is why we need 850 GP, as you can see. We used every single last of the 850. So just gather. And this will ensure we almost always will get max 8 out of 8 purity. Now, I just got 549 collectability rating. That was unlucky. It doesn't happen that often. That's 7 out of 8 purity, but you can still get the sands from it. It's entirely possible to get it out of. Yeah, as you can see, we still got sand. So yeah, that's a rotation. I also made a separate video for this, but yeah. So as you can see, you don't need facet gear to craft to gather these sands. It's possible to completely bypass the facet set for both crafters and gatherers, and that's what this guide is about. Alright, same gear for the legendary nodes. You only need 550 GP, so you just do Blessed Harvest 2 and then Field Mastery to get it to 100%. Because for now our gear is pretty low perception, so we can't use Pig Clean. Once we upgrade our gear to 5.3 gear, then we can use the 750 GP rotation instead. We just do Blessed Harvest and then Pig Clean. We won't even need Field Mastery because we will be initially at 100% gathering rate. But for now, this is the rotation. Just Blessed Harvest 2 and Field Mastery. Also, just to make a note about the melts, as you can see, it's only grade 6 melts and only on the guaranteed slots. So, and grade 6 is really, really cheap on the market board. And besides, you can retrieve materia. Grade 6 is 100%. Once you're done with the gear, you can get the materia back. Either use them or sell them back, so you get the gil back. And always, while you're crafting and gathering, always keep an eye on your spirit bond percent. Once it's 100%, you can use the extract materia to get materia from them. Always keep an eye. And to increase this process, you can use spirit bond buffs like the superior spirit bond potion and the spirit bond manual, which you can get this one, the squadron spirit bonding manual, which you can get from your squadrons. I covered this in my beginner's guide as well, the leveling guide. I'll link this guide in the video description as well, just for your reference if you're still leveling up and want to use it. So with these two you will spirit bond faster, and in the process of this you will also gain materia. Alright, just upgraded the crafter gear. As I said before, we're going for the white script tools, item level 470. Same thing with the headpiece and chest. The rest is gonna be 430 gear, melded. We went with cheap melds, only grade 6 over melds. Grade 6 is pretty cheap anyway, because it's not used as much by people going for the 5.3 gear. They mostly go with grade 8 over melds. No over melds on the pants and boots at all. The rings are different. This one only 2 grade 3 over melds, really high percentage to over meld grade 4 and grade 3s. The other ring is just 1 grade 6 craftsmanship, because I needed 2485 craftsmanship for this macro that I'm about to show you. So I had to make sure I get enough craftsmanship from the melts. The rest of the accessories are really cheap melts, grade 4 and grade 3 over melts. They're all the same melts. I'll put the link for these in the description as well. Alright, I'm using Cunning Craftsman tea. Syrup works as well, but tea is enough. Syrup has like 3 more CP or something. And the food is Blood Bulla base HQ. So the stats, as I said, 2485 craftsmanship is the minimum. Anything lower you will fail the craft. Control is 2199 and 601 CP. This is with the Blood Bulla base and Cunning Craftsman tea. Syrup works as well. It's extra CP even on that. And with this we have to have at least 12.4k quality at the start of the craft to ensure to reach 100%, unless we get Byregots on poor condition. So we have 12.5, this should be alright. Oh, rip controller. Okay, here's macro number 1. I will put the link for the macro as well in the video description, as well as the melts, of course. And of course, once you craft a couple pieces, you can start using them, and you will then need less HQ mats as well. So the more pieces you craft with this macro, the less HQ mats you will need. So as you craft every piece, you can meld them. I will show the melds of the finished product. I will go with cheaper melds as well. If you want expensive melds on the 5.3 gear, I have that as well. But for this guide, we're gonna go with cheap version of the melds. Easy peasy. It's gonna be 100%. Perfect. So with this macro, you can craft a 5.3 gear just like that, easy peasy. You just need to do HQ mats, and now I'm gonna show you the macro that I do for it, crafting these same HQ mats. Okay, as for the HQ mats macro, here it is. I will put this in the video description as well. You will need one HQ mats. You usually get the Sans HQ if you want 100% HQ, but other than that, it's gonna be fine. Here's macro number 1. So you can use the same macro to HQ the materials as you need. With the same gear I showed, of course. No different gear. You can use this for the 35 durability, these dissolvents, as well as the other mats. The 5.2 materials as well should work just fine with those. Macro number 2. So you're covered there for the mats as well. There you go. It's not gonna be 100%, but even in Q mats you can use. You don't need 100% of the mats HQ. So, and as I said, as you upgrade your gear, you're gonna need even less HQ. There is also the slither sands, of course, that is required. These slither sands, and you can buy these with yellow scripts. So I can provide you a yellow script macro as well. So let me show you that as well. Okay. So I mostly do. If you go to the collectible tab, I do this level 78 culinarian one when I gather my yellow scripts, or the alchemist one. Those are the easiest to get the materials for. But just as an example for the macro itself, I'm gonna do it with Weaver, because I have the Weaver gear that I showed. Trial synthesis. Okay. Here is the yellow script macro. It's called syrup. Just like that, easy peasy. So there you have that. I will post this macro in the description as well. So now the next step is to craft a whole set for both crafters and gatherers. The 5.3 set. Item level, which it was 490. Just like that. That was easy, right? And then I'm gonna show you the cheap version of the melts for both sets. Alright, so using the macro I just showed you, I crafted myself the whole set and melded them as well. Cheap version of these melts. If you want more expensive melts, I will also put that in the video description that I've made on my main character. But otherwise, here it is. as you craft these pieces one by one, you can start melding as well if you have the material available to you. And then as you craft more, it will become so that you need less and less HQ mats with each piece you craft. And I'm gonna show you a trial synthesis with these exact melts. I have HQ Bula base up as a food, and we don't need syrup anymore or tea. So just a food now. Stats with food: 2611 craftsmanship, 2750 control, 620 CP. And I'll post this macro in the video description as well for you. It's almost the same macro, it's just a bit different. This way you won't have to use any HQ mats now with these melts. I will also show you the gatherer set as well. There was a poor condition here. That might make it so we don't reach 100%, but I don't think it will matter. Still 100%. Wow, okay. Nice. So there you go. Now you went from just hitting level 80 to now being HQing the latest recipe with the NQ mats. I will in the future also make a video showing expert recipes with this gear when grade 3 expert recipes come out. Alright, here is the crafter set as well. I'm gonna go through the melts. Without food, the stats are 800 GP, 2580 gathering, 2705 perception. Really cheap melts. Haven't done anything more than grade 6 for the first over melt. Except for this case where I did a grade 8, but grade 6 would have worked. But grade 6 was more expensive than grade 8. That was really weird. But that's why, otherwise grade 6 works just fine. Okay, the rings. As long as you have the 800 GP, you don't need to melt that much GP. Cause with the Peppered Popotos HQ, we will reach the 850 GP that we want for the collectible rotation for the sands. The rotation is still the same as the Levinstrike sand we did earlier, or in the Levinstrike sand video I did when the patch came out. It's the same one. But now, since we are able to gather HQ, now we are able to do King's Yield and then pickling. If you have 0% on quality initially, you can't use pickling because pickling converts HQ to more quantity. Okay, and I also do a Be Bountiful Yield as well, and just gather after that. So that's the rotation. The rotation for the sands and collectibles are the same. So there you go. Now you're ready for patch 5.4. With both crafters and gatherers, you're ready following this guide. Hope you found it helpful. If you did, please like, favorite, subscribe, and share the video. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.